Hey everyone, I'm going to be making some ribbon candy soaps today and I hope you'll join me. This is a fun project and one that I am doing for stocking stuffers for my family. Um, I'm going to be showing most of the colors, etc. up there. If you don't catch them and can't pause it to see what I'm using, I will have links in my description box. This is just kind of for fun, playing around, experimenting. I've never done this style soap, and I wanted to do it today. It reminded me, it's kind of using my chiffon rainbow or chiffon bonfire technique that I make, the little thin sheets of soap. And I thought, I wonder if I could make those look like ribbons. And so, as you'll see in a minute, the main difference between the sheets I make, the soap sheets I make for my chiffon soaps and these is it's a little more controlled as far as the shape goes. With the others, it doesn't matter so much. I'm going for an organic look, not a specific strict shape. But these, and it's really not even strict on here. I'm kind of estimating everything, but I do want it to look, as you'll see when I'm shaping this, I do want it to look like a rectangle. And but I'm not measuring specifically. I'm not pulling out a ruler and a T-square and all the good stuff. You're welcome to do that if you want super precision. I am just using my mold, you'll see in a minute, as a guide, kind of for where, how wide is it? Remember to use that bottom of the mold, not the top. I can't really show you how I'm doing that because you can't see underneath the mold. While you're kind of watching me create a rectangle, and as you see, I'm just eyeballing it because it doesn't need to necessarily be perfect. I want to point out that you'll see some sparkle in this, in these little sheets I made. And while I did list the colors in text, in the text boxes, wow. I wasn't necessarily including the glitter. It's not really glitter. It's a biodegradable type of glitter, and sparkling mica it's sometimes called. There's a name for it, and again, I forgot to look it up and put it on the screen, but I can give you names of different companies that make them. All the mica companies that I know of have some form of these. They're a synthetic mica, but it's the same molecules creating it. It's just created in a lab rather than having children hunt for it and dig it up. This one right here, Sunshine Sparkle. Oh gosh, is it Sunshine Sparkle or Sparkle Sunshine? I'm not sure, but it's from Mad Micas, and I will leave a link. I am an affiliate, so if you purchase any of these micas or anything through any of my affiliate links that I put in there for Mad Micas, specific micas, I will receive a small percentage of a kickback without it costing you anything additional. But that being said, that Sparkle Sunshine, that is one of the types of micas I'm talking about. It looks like glitter. It's really not. It's a synthetic biodegradable mica. But the reason I was even bringing that up is because I added some to the micas that didn't have that kind of sparkle. Because I want the ribbons, you're gonna see very little of the ribbon. We're basically going to be looking at the thickness of the ribbon when you cut it in the soap, because I'm going for a ribbon candy design. So you're wanting a wavy pattern, as you saw me kind of fold up that red one first. And I wanted to show the beauty of the micas, and it's kind of hard to see the pretty metallic pearly sparkly looks they have in that small of an amount. So I wanted to add a little fun, a little flair. You'll notice, if you know me, you'll notice I'm going to add sparkle where I can. So I added in, not to this one, I didn't add anything to this one. It's just Sparkle Sunshine. But in the True Red and in the other colors I've used that are not, that don't inherently have this glitter in it, or synthetic mica in it, I added a synthetic mica like Sparkle Plenty from Mad Micas. Snowflake Sparkle, I think, is Nurture Soap's version. I'm not even sure. There's so many different types. Diamond Sparkle. There's a bunch of different types of these. Like I said, I believe all of the companies that I've purchased from, the professional soaping companies, at least the larger ones, and like I said, any I've purchased from, all have some of these types of micas. Synthetic micas. They are so much fun, and they add a different dimension and depth to already beautiful color micas that usually, unless you buy a matte, they're going to be a little bit shiny or pearly or sparkly in some way. This boosts that look a lot. As you can kind of see here as I'm flattening this out, creating the soap sheets, you can really, the sparkle shows up pretty well in that way, which, I mean, there's a lot of other applications that can have. You might think of lots of other ways you can use these where they will show up a little bit better. That sparkle will really show. Like in a chiffon soap, like in my Chiffon Rainbow or my Silk Rainbow. Back to real quick there, when I first started making the little sheets here for this one, I didn't really go into detail about what I'm doing with the sheets of soap once I've cut the rectangle. First of all, I am guesstimating that rectangle to be double the length of my mold. My mold, the one I used for this, it's almost a 4-inch cube. Like, it's more than 3.5, but it's not quite 4 either. So I'm kind of just guesstimating that I want it to be at least at least double that width or length or whatever you want to call it, because it's about, close to the same every direction it should be, as it's a cube, but it's not exact. I don't know if you remember in elementary school or middle school or any kind of an art class where you were just having fun and folding paper, but it's a fan fold. The main difference being, or an accordion pleat, that type of thing, the main difference is you're not pressing together. You're not creating sharp edges. You want them to stay round. So that is, that's basically the way you're folding it back and forth. You're just trying to keep the size even. That's how you know when to turn the next one. You want it to stay about the curls, the little waves, to stay about the same height and the same dimensions, so that it kind of lines up. Guess what? If they're not, I don't really think it's going to matter. Like I said, nothing here was done precisely. I was just measuring against what I was doing and eyeballing at that. So I really don't think if your accordion fold has one of the little waves that sticks up more than the others, I really don't think you're going to notice that much. And I don't think it's going to matter even if you do notice it, because it's still going to be a really cool looking soap. Me and my forgiving designs, that's what I really like to do. Yes, I do some precision designs, but I really prefer to do something that gives me the wiggle room to not be perfect. I am a perfectionist, which is, I guess, why I choose designs like this, because it doesn't have to be perfect. And so that makes me feel less pressure to be perfect. I just want it to look cool or look nice, I do want it to look like ribbon candy. So if it went totally off the charts, I would have been upset. I wasn't upset with these at all, though. They're not perfect. They don't come out looking like perfect ribbon candy bought from a store. But they do look cool, and I believe they give the image very well. This one, there's a fun little bit here I will show you. It's a chance to show you some troubleshooting. It didn't spread. I had a fan on that was trying to kind of cool things faster right there. Did you see me rip it at the bottom? So I went from the other end. And now I'm going to show you my quick repair for this. It's very easy to repair. Now, you still have to be careful with it or you'll rip it again. But if you just put a little bit of hot soap right there, you can seal that seam, and certainly long enough to get it folded and into the soap if you're not. And I honestly, when I was doing the accordion pleat or the fan fold, whatever you want to call it, I wasn't really paying attention to where that repair was. So it wasn't like I was being super careful. I was like, well, if it repairs it, it does. And, makes it look nice. If it rips, it's okay too. Because one of the other pieces did rip when I put it in. You'll see on the cut of it. It's not necessarily that it ripped it. I believe it just overheated a little bit. My first bit that I poured of my base of this soap, which we'll talk about in a second, I had it a little too hot, and I got a little impatient. Instead of waiting longer for it to cool off, I wanted to get started. I also didn't want it to be too cool as I put in the embeds, because I was really hoping to avoid catching air bubbles, and I was pretty successful at that. I think there's a little bit of a trick to it that I'll talk about when we get there. Both the Crazy Eyes and back a few at the Snake Island, both of those I had, because I pre-mixed them with the alcohol in these, and I used probably less than half a teaspoon of everything combined, meaning that glittery mica plus the regular color, about half a teaspoon of each, I believe. I mean, not of each, all together. I added a touch of maniacal pea from Mad Micas. There's a touch of that green in both of the other greens I used. It was such a small amount. I didn't think it was worth trying to cram it into the text and list it. It didn't change them that much. I was just going for a tiny bit of a brightening effect, which I think worked really nicely with the Crazy Eyes. I don't think I had added enough to make a difference to the Snake Eyes. It almost, in some of the pictures and in some of the footage, I mean, you can see it's green when it's laid out here for sure, the darker one, the Snake Island. But in the soap itself, it almost looks black. It's a little darker than I wanted. But in person, it's like a really dark green, an extreme dark green. You can see that in person a little easier, but in the photos, which really don't matter. I didn't do a great job on the photos this time. I'm not putting them on my website. Like I said, these are from my family. They were already begging for them when they smelled the fragrance oil before they even saw the end results. And then they really loved the end results. So I will be assisting Santa in filling the stockings this year. And they will likely find something like this or exactly this in their stockings. And most of them won't be watching these anyway, so I'm not so worried. And Mr. Soap and such already knows he's getting one, so because he asked for one because he really wanted it. The smell is so good. Don't eat the soap. That's a very big recommendation. They do smell like you want to eat them. That Buttermint Candy's fragrance is delicious smelling. But it is still soap. So I'm just kind of playing. You can see these are very pliable. I did not. Sometimes if I'm wanting something to be pliable in a soap, I occasionally will add just a tiny bit of glycerin. I did not do that with these, and boy, they still stayed pliable. That part of that, I think, is that they're just so thin. So here we go with, this is how you make additional ribbons, like striped ribbons. This is how I make them anyway. There's probably other ways to do it. I'm hoping you kind of saw me. I didn't highlight it necessarily, but I poured a little bit into the rectangle there in the rectangle mold each time I prepared a color for creating the soap sheets. And the reason I poured it in the rectangle first is because that, if you're layering, my recommendation to you is pouring it hot. There are many other tips and tricks. You can scrape them. And I didn't really want the look of the scraped. Sometimes you can see it in larger soaps and larger designs and stuff. It's harder to see that if you score it a little bit, and you can score it just a very little bit to where it doesn't show. But I spritzed it with alcohol before, which also is a type of scoring it, because it does create a slightly uneven surface in there. And it helps them to adhere together. But pouring it hot does too. You don't want to pour it so hot that it's going to melt the layer underneath. You see, I think 2 of these came apart. But considering the amount that I'm twisting them to get the design I wanted, I'm actually surprised that only 2 of them came apart. So, and I think toward the end, one of them was a little cooler, and I was telling myself, well, that's going to come apart. And it sure did. So now we're moving to the base soap of the main soap of this design. I did create all the ribbons I was going to use for this. Those were fun. Those are really fun, by the way, and you can use them in many other things. I should have added a picture in at the end of another soap I made with a rainbow ribbon, but I forgot to do that. So someday maybe I'll recreate that soap. It was really pretty. It's in some of the soap groups if any of you feel like really digging for it. It was a long time ago. But this is the Crafter's Choice detergent free. I think this one was the detergent free coconut milk base, soap base. And it's one I hadn't tried and wanted to try. So, this was one I wanted to be a really white soap too. And I have a lot of other white soap bases from Crafter's Choice, not affiliated with them. I just love their product. Their soap bases particularly. I buy other things there, but mainly for the soap bases. And then you get free shipping if you get over 25, free shipping. There is a handling fee, but that definitely encourages you to get some of their other products too, if you're already purchasing soap base from them. At least it does for me. And they're quality products. They really are. Anyway, I have and love their Moroccan argan oil soap, their baby bee buttermilk. Oh, they have some really, really beautiful bases, both detergent free and premium, that are really, really nice. But some of the whiter types of bases, like the argan oil, is the one I was specifically thinking of, but the buttermilk as well. And I think the 3 Butter does it a little bit. They're a little bit ivory. They're not pure white. The goat's milk has a really nice white look. And you can always add a little bit more TD, titanium dioxide. It will brighten it up. But I didn't want to deal with that, and I had this just a little sample tub, a 2-pound sample of the coconut milk sitting around waiting to test it because I hadn't tried it. And I thought, I want a really nice bright white for this, and I did. Notice that I am putting one side down and then the other. That is how I'm avoiding catching bubbles underneath. I'm watching carefully as I press it down in that the air all escapes the other side. So because they're super thin, words, and a little see-through, you can kind of see where the air is coming out. Yes, I'm making a mess. That is kind of who I am. I'm always art over mess, art over neatness, I'm going to say, because the mess doesn't matter as much to me if it's, going to create a beautiful end product or something that I want to use or sell or what have you. But like I said, this one's not being sold. It's family only. And I had to add a little bit of glitz to the top because that is who I am. These are the biodegradable stars. I forget the name of them, but you might be able to see it on the screen. The screen I'm watching while I do the voiceover is a little smaller, so I can't quite read what the package says there. But I'll leave a link, of course. I know they have a very specific name for their little stars. It's really cute. And then I wanted to add a tiny bit more glitter, so I added some more of the, oh, here comes the fun part. I added some into the Mystic biodegradable glitter. So this is a fun part. Here we go. Ever rip a mold in the middle of making a soap video? Well, this is my first time ever ripping a mold at all. I have to say, I'm not that surprised. I kind of mistreat this mold quite a bit because I almost have to unroll it to get it out easily. But it's one of the first molds I ever bought. 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not even sure. But I've had it for a very long time. It was very cheap. And it's gotten a lot of use. So and when I looked at the other corners, they were starting to give out too. So it was just time. I've never, like I said, never had a mold rip on me or damage in some way like that I couldn't use it. But there's a first time for everything. I do plan on getting a different mold to replace it because I want one that actually is a 4-inch square. And I want one of the more, there are some that are a little, that I've seen, similar to the style that Brambleberry makes. There, I might even get one there. I'm not sure, but they're a little sturdier. This one bows out on the edges and on the sides, and you'll see that when the soaps are cut. They're really bowed, and sometimes I fix that, and sometimes I don't. And because these are going to my family, I promise you they do not care. They're just gonna, use the soap and try not to eat it. Yeah, so I won't be making any more sample soaps or get to experiment in my little square until I replace that, and I will have to do that pretty soon. But I think these came out really cool. I had a lot of fun making them, and I show them off a little bit here to you. I'm gonna I do have a few Lightbox pictures, not a ton, but I show you some of the other things here I did with the leftover ribbons, because there's so many different things you can do with this type of soap embeds. As you've seen, you've seen a variety of things I've done with the soap sheets, the chiffon design, and this is yet another take on that. But also the little striped ribbons right there. That I had a lot of fun with those, and because I had a few left over, I had to play with it a little bit and you see, it's far from perfect. There's the broken little red piece because I put it in too hot. Didn't even hold its perfect little accordion pleat or ribbon candy rolls or waves or whatever you want to call it. It's not perfect, but it definitely gives the impression of ribbon candy, which is all that matters. It gives the idea, and the colors give the impression of Christmas and the holidays, and the Buttermint Candy smell definitely gives the impression when you smell and look at it at the same time. It definitely looks like a Christmas treat for sure. And I know real ribbon candy is not a minty scent in general. They're kind of a plain fruity, plain sweet scent, not scent, flavor. I would probably liked it a lot better had it been this like buttermint kind of flavor, because yummy. But anyway, I thought they came out really cute. I'm trying in these ending close-ups here just to show you a variety of looks at once. Sometimes when you see that, it's so that I can get I can grab a still picture from these. And I wanted to make sure to show the top because I think that's part of the coolest part of it. It is, I'm using two completely different techniques here to show different designs you can make with a ribbony kind of look. So I was real happy with how those came out. I wished I had kept them a little more curled before I threw them on top, but I still think they came out cute. Um, so here's what else I did. Here's what I did with the leftovers. I had to play because they were there and they were leftovers, so I wanted to use them. I love the way this Christmas tree came out, and I believe this is the one that Mr. Soaps and Such wanted because he was thrilled with that one. He thought it looked so cool, and I can't disagree with him on that. I love when you can see neat design embeds like that, and still it's clear and you can see through the whole thing, and part of why I love Melt and Pour. And then this one with the little garland on it. That was done using the ones that broke apart. Now, I didn't use the green ones yet, and I still have a little piece of that, but I thought I put them to good use. It does look like a little garland on there, and there's a couple of little glitter stars on the top too, and a little extra glitter in the base, in the clear base itself, because I can't. And I kept these the same fragrance because I had it out and was using it. And like I said, these aren't something I was putting up on my website, just something I was playing with. So I did this for gifts for family and friends. I did this for ideas for you, for stocking stuffers, or for future ideas, different ways to use the Chiffon Technique. I'm hoping that something in here has inspired you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you have not already done so. It really helps the channel grow quite a bit. I will be showing you a few pics in a second. They didn't come out that great because the clear ones especially got some glycerin dew on them, and that's just the way it is in Florida. It will come off, but I didn't notice it before the pictures were taken, so sorry about that. You can see in the close-ups, you'll notice that I do go in really close. You see the glitter there. Isn't that cool? I think that looks really neat when it shows up. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your time with me and allowing me to share some designs with you, and hopefully some new techniques that you may not have seen before, or new ways to use older techniques that you might have seen before. I'm hoping you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.